far as you can go. Yeah, that's fine.
Well, welcome into the good old-fashioned Dislike Podcast, where dynasties never die and hate is an extreme word, but just barely. This episode is brought to you by Collision Auto Repair Services in Killen, Alabama. Football is a collision sport, but driving your car shouldn't be. When your car suffers from unnecessary roughness, be sure to call Collision Auto Repair Services at 256-272-2007. So here we are. We are ready. It doesn't seem all that long ago that we were previewing the SEC season and getting some things right and getting most things wrong. But I'm Travis Creasy, and we are back with most of the panel of Dislike, and that's headed up by Ben Hayes. How you doing, Ben?
I'm good. Just got through with a pretty long day of work, but glad to be right here with you guys hanging out. We got Will Mahan next to me.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I hardly worked, you know. It's what youth ministers do. Taught some kids at Mars Hill, making them mad by giving them a test right before Christmas. So
Play a little devil's advocate at church tonight.
Yeah, it was a good time. It was a good day. Blake, welcome.
Thanks for having me back to bring you guys back down to earth as much as possible. The last few weeks have been kind of rough for me, all things considered, but I'm here and ready to rock and roll tonight.
Awesome. Well, Blake is our resident Barner. He keeps all of us Bammers at a low where we need to be, humbling us from time to time. And unfortunately, some of us do have to work at some point, and that would be Josh Thorne, who's the other member of the panel, just newly added to the Dislike 2.0. And he's unfortunately unable to be with us, but we do have his picks. And so the way this works is we will rotate. We'll start with Ben, and he's going to make the first pick, and then I'll go, and then Will, and then Blake, and then Josh. And this is the beginning of our competition to see who gets that coveted jersey. And so we keep score. We didn't keep the SEC preview score. We'll keep score with our individual picks tonight, and then we will do the NFL playoff plus Super Bowl, and then we'll do March Madness, and whoever has the most W's at the end of that whole series will get the coveted custom jersey, of which Blake has won. He won the first year, the inaugural jersey, and then I've won the last 2 years. One of which not this past year, but the one before, I went undefeated in college football pick'em. So I don't ever think I'll ever do that again. I wish I was wrong, because I picked that Georgia win over Bama in the rematch. I wish I was wrong that one. But you are free, if you're listening, watching, you're free to jump in with your comments. We'll flash them up on the screen. You can let your picks be known. And we'll jump right in. You guys got any questions about how we're approaching this? Y'all should be old habit for you at this point.
Yeah, I just have no idea how I'm going to pick them, but we'll go with it. And I have not researched this.
And he also has no idea how he's going to win, because he never has.
I've never won.
Oh.
You're right. It's probably not going to happen, so I might as well just willy-nilly picks these things
off emotion.
Here we go.
There's a first time for everything, and so I guess with Josh's picks, we won't be needing the coin flip of doom and destruction. I think he will settle it. Of course, we get to the playoffs, we'll each get to weigh in, and then the official Ben and Travis pick will be decided by the majority of the group. And so yippee skippy and all that good stuff. And of course, there should be down in the description the way to join our BowlMania Pick'em. You can click the link there. Password is TripleHPod. And whoever, if you can beat the official Ben and Travis page and beat everybody else there in the group, then you'll get to pick a prize from the Ben and Travis store, or the Bat Cave, however you want to put that. So, any questions, fellas?
I'm good.
We're ready.
Ready to rock.
Excellent. All right, Ben Hayes, you will have, what do we got here?
Myrtle Beach Bowl.
The what?
The Myrtle Beach Bowl.
The Myrtle Beach Bowl. I like it.
Yes, and that is on the 16th against the Ohio Bobcats 9-3 versus Georgia Southern Eagles 6-6. Those that's a tough one, but I'm going to go with the Ohio Bobcats, Bob, for 500. So we're going to go with Ohio Bobcats. It looks like a good pick to me.
And the accent. I mean, hey, you can't get much better than that. So Ben's going with the Ohio Bobcats.
For American working man, because that's who we are and that's who we care about.
And the Tommy Boy quote, we are warmed up already.
Is it?
And so Saturday is a big day of bowl games. We get fired up pretty early. 10 a.m. is that kick for the Myrtle Beach Bowl. I've got the Cricket Celebration Bowl.
Of course you do.
Saturday, this coming Saturday at 11 a.m. It's the Florida A&M Rattlers at 11-1 taking on the Howard Bison. We will be cheering on the Harding Bison. I assume we're all in the Harding boat here in the Division II National Championship. But on this one, I'm going to go with the Rattlers because that mascot is terrifying. So Florida A&M Rattlers take game 2 of bowl season, and that brings us to Will the Thrizzle with the R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl with the Ragin' Cajuns of Louisiana at 6-6, one of the greatest mascots of all time. And then Jacksonville State Gamecocks at 8-4 with Rich Rod, who is in Alabama, thankfully many, many years later than he might have been.
Yeah, we got a lot to thank Rich Rod for, or Terry Saban, whichever one. So, based on what documentary you read about Coach Saban that he doesn't appreciate that was written about him. But I'm going to go with Jacksonville State just because I talked to Reggie last night, and Reggie played offensive line for Jacksonville State. So, and they offered my boy Harbor Branscombe a cross-country scholarship. So,
very
but
nice.
rolling with Jacksonville State.
I like it.
All right. That brings us to Blake. Avocados from Mexico Cure Bowl of Appalachian State Mountaineers at 8-5 and the Miami, Ohio Redhawks. I think this game has got like a ton of dudes that aren't playing, which that's probably the case for all the bowls. But you got App State pulling off maybe the greatest upset of all time many moons ago. It's crazy to think that this might be an upset over an 11-2 Redhawks team. But take it away, Blake.
So, first of all, who knew that avocados even came from Mexico? I did not know that. But Appalachian State, they have been the factory for FCS studs. And so I think a lot of those guys hit the portal. Auburn picked up a couple of App State guys last year that really put some depth to our defense this year, and they worked out for us. But I'm going to go with Miami, Ohio to beat the FCS Blue Blood.
Unofficially, they're the Fighting Roethlisbergers.
Correct. That is it. I thought it was cool that Miami, Ohio played Miami, Florida earlier.
Yes. Yeah, that was awesome. But that was tempting to do the dislike on that one because you're not going to get that matchup very often. But I forget what we went with, but it was definitely on the list, if you remember. And so we get to our first pick of Josh Thorne at the, let's see, is that Isleta? Isleta, New Mexico Bowl. And that is the 8-4 Fresno State Bulldogs. And then, of course, Blake's favorite team, New Mexico State Aggies at 10-4. And so Fresno State 8-4, New Mexico State 10-4. And let me just say this. I know Blake's kind of smiling. I'm probably giving him a hard time.
Yeah, that was off the rope within the first pick. So,
well, I mean, they were a legit team. Like, I think they were a good football team.
Yeah.
So I think, I think a lot of people would have struggled. And then, of course, where it was sitting, I think about next year, Alabama plays Oklahoma before playing Auburn in the Iron Bowl. So,
well, Auburn's never going to schedule Jerry Kill ever again because he beat Hugh Freeze last year when he was undefeated at Liberty. So that guy's got our number.
Yeah. And so Josh goes with, as you can guess, being a Bammer, New Mexico State to win that one, and I'm not going to argue that. Like I said, they're a much better football team than they get credit for. All right, Ben, that brings us back to you, the Starco Brands LA Bowl.
Boise State 8-5, UCLA 7-5.
What does Starco even say?
I don't even know. And I don't even know what to go with this one, but I'm going to go with the oddly colored field of Boise State for the win here.
Thought you would go with the Fighting Chip Kelly's.
Nice.
But
I'm going to go
Going
Boise
against
State.
them.
Just see what happens. I don't know. Who knows? I'll probably be wrong. I've been wrong a lot of times before in this.
that is true.
Keep the streak alive.
Now keep it alive. Let's go.
All right, Will, you got the Radiance Technology Independence Bowl on Saturday. These are all on Saturday. So
I don't even have that on my list.
college bowl games. Actually, that's me. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be the good host here, and I'm failing miserably. It's me, the Radiance Technology Independent Bowl with the Texas Tech Red Raiders, one of the greatest names in college football. 6-6, taking on the California Golden Bears, which you guys, Will and Blake, have seen in person. 6-6.
They are still living in the Marshawn Lynch days.
Yes. And so the Red Raiders, to me, are an interesting team because they played Oregon and Texas. And back when there was an actual debate, between Oregon and Texas, like Oregon barely beat them and Texas like obliterated their souls on national television. But I am going to go with the Red Raiders, and that's going to be based on mascot alone because I just love saying Texas Red Raiders, Texas Tech Red Raiders, along with Decatur Red Raiders. So there you have it. Now, Will.
Didn't Texas Tech also beat Oklahoma this year?
I believe so.
They upset somebody pretty big.
And so, Will, now it's your turn. Is the famous Toastery Bowl? Old Dominion Monarchs at 6-6 taking on Alabama's first game next year, the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers at 7-5. Is this the one where they're going to eat the mascot? Or is that the Pop-Tarts? There's a Pop-Tarts Bowl too, but
That is the Pop-Tart.
okay. So not this one. They will not be eating the mascot.
So what even is a monarch a butterfly?
Yes. Usually.
So royalty, I think in this case, there's a crown on top of the logo.
I was thinking
like
old.
a monarch. There is a monarch butterfly.
That's what I was like. The Old Dominion butterflies. That's what I was thinking. Probably.
Maybe.
Where is Old Dominion?
It's in the Virginia area.
Got to be the East Coast somewhere, yeah.
Give me Kentucky. I'm going to take a team that's like south of the Mason-Dixon line and just
sounds like they honor the crown.
Yeah.
Virginia is not for football.
Yeah. Yeah. Give me Kentucky Hilltoppers.
Going with the Hilltoppers. Blake, now we're on to Scooters. This is the greatest year for bowl games.
Scooters is a good place. That's a coffee place.
Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl.
Wow.
Scooters Coffee's good.
And I think of Scooters Coffee, but I don't want to drink it with a Frisco sandwich or whatever, So, anyways, the Marshall Thundering Herd, 6-6, the Fighting Randy Mosses, and the UTSA Roadrunners at 8-4.
Ben, do you know what UTSA stands for?
University of Texas San Antonio.
Bingo. That's what I'm going with because Ben nailed it on the head. Going with the Roadrunners.
That's Tuesday, by the way, 12/19. And so we're back to Josh Thorne, right? The roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl on Thursday, December the 21st. The Syracuse Orange at 6-6, and our good friends who almost wrecked our entire season, the South Florida Bulls at 6-6. Look, I'm going to be honest, as depressed as you may have been after the end of the season, I don't know that it compares with how depressed I was back in September when I thought we might win 6 games this year.
Yeah.
With South Florida doing their worst. Actually, I guess we're doing our worst. And so let's see if I can get Mr. Thorne's email up here.
Oh, his pick.
And I lost it. It's great.
Did y'all see today while Travis is finding that there's a guy in the portal. He's got a visit scheduled for Alabama tomorrow and then for Syracuse the day after that. And I was just like, that's a sentence that I never thought I would ever hear. He's visiting Alabama and then Syracuse.
Is it the defense? Is it the edge guy from A&M?
I think so.
Yeah, he's just collecting money everywhere he's going.
Oh, yeah. $5,000 to visit is what I hear. Josh went with the South Florida Bulls. Wise choice there, Josh. I don't know how it'll pan out, but saving face. All right, Ben, you're going to get the Fighting Gus Malzahn's of UCF Knights versus the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets in a Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl.
Let's go, Gasparilla.
On Friday, December the 22nd. And wasn't Georgia Tech the team that beat Miami because of the terrible clock management at the end of a game or something like that?
They fumbled, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Fumble, yeah.
Should have just took a knee, didn't. So,
yeah.
What you got, Ben?
I'm tired of the whining of UCF, and Georgia Tech played a pretty good game against Georgia, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Am I right? Yeah, I'm going Georgia Tech. Let's go Georgia Tech. Yeller Jackets.
Mike Leach played it.
I'm going with it.
All right, Yellow Jackets. If you're watching, feel free to comment. We'll throw it up there if you got a pick or you disagree with us or you want to argue with us. We're not going to argue because we're better than that. But feel free to share your thoughts as we now turn to the Camellia Bowl, featuring the North Illinois Huskies at 6-6 and the Arkansas State Red Wolves with, now I can't remember the guy's name, the coach. He was a Tennessee coach.
Butch Jones.
Butch Jones, the washer of Nick Saban's car. And I'm going to go with Arkansas State Red Wolves.
The champion of life.
Yes. Brick by brick, baby. Brick by brick. That gives us Will, the 76 Birmingham Bowl, featuring the 7-5 Duke Blue Devils and the 11-2 Troy Trojans.
The FCS team.
Little Higgins is on Troy.
Yeah, I've got little Higgins in my Bible class right now. And so I'll roll with the Higgins clan and go with the good old Troy Trojans, especially since Elko is headed to A&M. So,
and they won't have Riley Leonard. So, of course, I think he was out for the season anyways, right?
Yeah.
He was done anyways.
Didn't Troy's coach just leave as well? John Summerall?
I think Tulane, didn't he?
Yeah, he went to Tulane.
Oh, did he really?
Mm-hmm.
Which doesn't seem like much of an upgrade, but whatever. Blake, you got the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl with the Air Force Falcons at 8-4 and the 11-1 James Madison Dukes.
That McAfee's rolling with James
football?
Madison. Oh, they're legit.
So this is a tough one for me because I am I'm all about America and how our service, the offenses that our service academies run is awesome. But I gotta go with my brain here and go with James Madison in the bowl game. I think they were.
That sounds patriotic too.
They were. Yeah, it is. Thank you. I feel better about my decision now.
Yeah, not a bad choice from the patriotic goal. Josh Thorne's got the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. And, to me, you just can't go wrong with a potato as long as you don't burn it. But anyway, 6-6 Utah State Aggies and the 6-6 Georgia State Panthers. And he is rolling with Georgia State. Georgia State for the win there for Mr. Thorne as he jumps in. And we're back to Mr. Ben Hayes on Saturday, December the 23rd. We have the 68 Ventures Bowl with the 6-6 Eastern Michigan Eagles. Man, a lot of mediocre football. And the 6-6 South Alabama Jaguars, who didn't they upset somebody in the Big 12? That was
Oklahoma State.
Crazy. Yeah. Oklahoma State.
They played.
Who beat Oklahoma, who beat Texas, who beat us. And so, yeah. So
all I heard was Michigan's playing Alabama. Is that what I heard?
That's true.
South Alabama. I'm going with some South Alabama Jaguars. Let's go.
USA. The patriotic thing continues.
We had some members here that went to USA once upon a time.
That's true.
So
Kelly Price.
Yeah.
All right. I've got the SRS distribution Las Vegas Bowl with the 7-5 Northwestern Wildcats, who lost their coach under lots of scrutiny early in the season and got to 7 wins anyways, which is crazy. And then you got the Utah Utes, who are 8-4 and have had their own issues all season. And so really both these teams maybe Utah was probably expected to get to bowl eligibility where Northwestern wasn't. As I learned in 2008, don't bet against the Utes. I'm going with Utah.
Hear that?
Because, Utah. Got to respect the Utes here. All right, Will, you got the Easy Post Hawaii Bowl with the 7-5 San Jose State Spartans and the 7-5 Coastal Carolina Chanticleers.
Give me the Chanticleers. My interface leader at Freed Hardeman is a coach for the Chanticleers. There's not Chanticleers, Chanticleers.
Isn't that what we decided last year?
Some form of
It's like a rooster.
Yeah. And they also have the greatest victory celebrations of any college team that has ever existed. Because after one of their games, they had a WWE tables match with the coaches in the locker room. So Give me the good old Coastal Carolina.
Coastal Carolina. All right, Blake, you got the Quick Lane Bowl. And the Minnesota Golden Gophers at 5-7, who I guess got in because of their graduation rate or something crazy like that, and the 7-5 Bowling Green Falcons.
Yeah, this is you never see a 5-7 team get in, but any game that I don't really know much about, I go to the coach. PJ Fleck is a good coach.
Yes.
Also wears a little skinny tie on the sidelines with like a sweater. And so I'm all for PJ Fleck and his attire roaming the sidelines.
Row the boat.
I like the pick. I like PJ Fleck. He's almost too positive, which I'm not sure you can be. Okay.
He's somewhere rowing a boat right now.
Yes. He's got enough energy to power the sun, I'm fairly certain. You got the Serve Pro First Responder Bowl. That'll be Josh picking that one with the 6-6 Rice Owls and the 7-5 Texas State Bobcats, which immediately makes me think of Necessary Roughness, that movie. But anyways, he's going Texas State Bobcats. Texas State Bobcats for Mr. Thorne. And then we have Ben with the Guaranteed Rate Bowl with the UNLV Running Rebels at 9-4 and the Kansas Rock Chalk Jayhawk 8-4.
I don't know much about UNLV. Anybody?
Las Vegas, baby.
They lost the Mountain West Championship to Boise earlier this year.
I'm looking at Kansas. They've got some pretty good wins, and they've got some pretty atrocious losses as well. They did beat Oklahoma.
Yeah, the quarterback's good.
They got beat by Oklahoma State. So Texas throttled them. So let's go with Kansas. Why not?
With Kansas, the Jayhawks, the blue blood in basketball. Excuse me. All right, Will, you got the Military Bowl presented by GoBowling.com.
I think that's you.
That is me. Thank you, Will.
You're welcome.
I love picking the Tulane Green Wave because green is my favorite color. They're 11-2. They're taking on the Virginia Tech Hokies at 6-6. Tulane did us a solid last year and revealed once again that USC only plays flag football on defense. And so I'm rolling with Tulane because I love them just a little too much. Tulane Green Wave. I'm also thankful we don't have a 12-team playoff because I think that might have been – no, Liberty would have got in, not Tulane this year. But for a while there, it was Tulane versus Alabama in the Sugar Bowl, I think, was one of the matchups. Or maybe it would have been at Tuscaloosa. So anyways, I'm going with Tulane. And then Will, I haven't heard from Jeff Tabener yet.
I know. I was hoping.
Episode. We kept waiting for him to show up. But we got the Duke's Mayo Bowl with the 8-4 West Virginia Mountaineers taking on the suddenly human, not as good as you thought they might be, 8-4 North Carolina Tar Heels.
Yeah, and then a report came out today that isn't Drake May opting out and going to the NFL? So I don't think he's going to play in the bowl game. So if that's the case, give me Jeff Tabner and the West Virginia Mountaineers and
West
whatever those little
Virginia.
pizza rolls that he made.
Pizza
Pepperoni.
rolls, baby. Pepperoni rolls. Sorry, that's going to get me in trouble if he hears this. That
Because
would be terrible.
they're incredible. So go
All right,
West.
Blake. Speaking of USC, we get the DirecTV Holiday Bowl and the 7-5 USC Trojans without Caleb Williams will be taking on the number 15 Louisville Cardinal, who got beat by Kentucky. They gave up 38 points to Kentucky, by the way.
Yeah, this is an interesting game because Louisville is kind of on a downhill slide. They couldn't score against Florida State at the end of the year, and then they scored on Kentucky, and they got that game got in the 30s. So the game's at Petco Park in San Diego, so that's going to be a home game for USC. And what's his name? The coach is Lincoln Riley. He's a pretty good coach. So this game could go either way, but I'm going to go with Louisville and their defense.
Nice.
To win this game.
Yeah, it's going to be best on best and worst on worst. So Jeff Tavener says that the mayo bath, the mayonnaise bath, he wants to see. I think he wants West Virginia just to win so he can see the head coach get the mayonnaise bath. And then, of course, as I mentioned, he was going to correct me. It's pepperoni rolls, ladies and gentlemen. My apologies.
Jeff, I will be expecting more come CYC.
Yes.
So.
Exactly. So Mr. Thorne has the Tax Act Texas Bowl featuring the number 20 Oklahoma State Cowboys at 9-4, facing off with old Big 12 rival Texas A&M Aggies at 7-5. And Josh is going to roll with Texas A&M, and he added a little SEC on top of that. So Josh going with the Texas A&M Aggies. And Mr. Hayes, you'll have the Wasabi Fenway Bowl featuring the Boston College Eagles at 6-6, the hometown Boston College Eagles, taking on the number 24 SMU Mustangs at 11-2.
Look, I really want to go with Boston College because they were 2 points from beating that powerhouse early in the season, Florida State University. So since they were so close, I mean, they have to be good, but they ended 6-6. So I'm looking at the record for SMU.
Ben, are you like passive aggressively making an argument as to why Florida State should have been left out of the playoffs?
Possibly. But SMU had some other really good games, killed some teams, and it finished pretty strong on the year. Beat Memphis, beat Navy by like a drum. So I'm going SMU.
All right, the Mustangs. I would say that Florida State should be left out simply because they beat Boston College on the weekend, and they were honoring the guy who died at 9/11. So I'm just saying, like, we're talking about patriotic. We're cheering for these teams, and what did Florida State do? They ruined the weekend. Come on. So I'm joking, people. I'm joking. The Bills head coach would love that joke. He would love it. All right, so Jeff Tavener says he's going to bring a bunch of those pepperoni rolls.
That just went over the majority of people's heads.
Don't look up Sean McDermott 9/11. Wow. Don't look up Sean McDermott 9/11.
Woo! Shall we pray?
Those guys are on the same page. I tell you.
So Tavener says he's bringing us a bunch of those pepperoni rolls. We will be. That's really the reason I'm going to CYC. So. I've got on December the 28th, I've got the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl, which will be played in Yankee Stadium with the 7-5 Miami Hurricanes facing off against the 6-6 Rutgers Scarlet Knights. And man, college football began up there in New Jersey at Rutgers, but give me the Miami Hurricanes on that game at 7-5. I don't think they're going to have their quarterback either. But I'm going with the Hurricanes simply because I just have a feeling they've at least got more talent than Rutgers, right? Maybe. Bueller. Okay. All right. Will, you're up with the Pop-Tarts Bowl. I knew you had this one. That's why I even got even more mixed up when it was Toastery. But this is the one where the winners will eat the mascot, which has to be a college football first, right? If not, I would like to see the 70s film of that. Anyways, number 25, Kansas State Wildcats at 8-4, taking on the number 18 NC State Wolfpack on Thursday, December 28th.
I have no idea. But I do love Pop-Tarts. That's about the only good thing that I see coming from this. I'm going to go with NC State because they took Mark Godfrey and got him away from Alabama after a bunch of just average years in basketball. And he coached Ralston Turner. He's from Muscle Shoals. So we'll roll with NC State.
All right, Blake, we got the Valero Alamo Bowl with the number 12 Oklahoma Sooners at 10-2, which, man, that seems like a little bit overachieving. I didn't see them getting to double-digit wins, especially over Texas. And then the number 14 Arizona Wildcats at 9-3.
And I watched Arizona play a couple of games this year in the Pac-12 After Dark games, and man, they're tough. They have good offense. They run the ball. So I think there's a little incentive here for Arizona getting to that 10 wins. And so I'm going to go with the Wildcats.
Oh, the Wildcats. I like the pick. We got the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl featuring the 7-5 Kentucky Wildcats hosting. I don't know if they're hosting, but number 22 Clemson Tigers at 8-4. And there were times I saw Clemson play and I was like, this team may not get bowl eligible, but they sure enough turned around, got her done, played some teams really tough there at the end. And Mr. Thorne is going to roll with Clemson, although it's against his heart. He wants some more SEC. Although I would love to see Kentucky get it done against Clemson just because Tennessee did last year. And, well, we can't let them have everything, boys.
Yeah,
Clemson.
Ever since that caller called in on the radio show and blasted Dabo, man, they've been playing on another level. That really
it was Dabo's son. He called in and fired up Dabo. Hey, Dad, you got to get with it. All right.
Did y'all see Dabo's interview the other day from the wood paneling closet of the airport?
Yes, I did see that.
Hilarious. I'll have to look it up. Hilarious.
Nice. All right, Mr. Hayes, you got Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl, and it's a matchup of teams that are not that great. I'm just kidding. Number 16, Notre Dame at 9-3, the Fighting Lou Holtzes, and the number 19, Oregon State Beavers at 8-4.
The Beavers. Now, let's just say this. You say they're not that great, but Oregon State beat Colorado early in the season. Let's not forget that. And they came within 2 points of beating Washington. I guess 3 points of beating Washington. So
if you pick Oregon State, then you have to be able to pronounce their quarterback's name.
He's already in the transfer portal. So
they're saying he may.
Uyunglele, is that his name?
Uyunglele.
They're saying he may be Florida State's new quarterback.
So is he out for the game?
Yeah, he's in the portal.
Yeah, he's in the portal.
He's in the portal.
Yeah, he's not playing.
Notre Dame.
But someone say he's not that good.
It's a tough one. I'm gonna Notre Dame 9-3. It's tough. I'm gonna go with him out. I'm gonna go Notre Dame.
The Fighting Irish. Let's just hope Ryan Day doesn't show up to duke it out with Lou Holtz because he might get embarrassed. I might take Lou Holtz in that one. All right. Here I am. The AutoZone Liberty Bowl on Friday, December the 29th. We've got the Iowa State Cyclones at 7-5 taking on the 9-3 Memphis Tigers. And I'm trying to figure out Liberty Bowl. That's in Memphis, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I really want to stay loyal to the Cyclones for all that they've done for the Crimson Tide over the years. But in Memphis, you better lose that one, right? Because, well, they might steal your football or something like that or something else, right? Auburn Tiger fan, Blake?
Oh, they did steal a football. Yeah,
I'm not following.
They stole something from Auburn, like back when they played them in like the Birmingham Bowl or something. There was some altercation at the end, and then Mississippi State fought them one year. I mean, it's like something always goes crazy in these bowl games. And I guess they finally were like, let's just invite these hayseed Iowa State guys out here. Maybe things will stay calm. Who knows? But I'm going with Memphis because we were there just a few weeks ago.
In Memphis.
He had to do it. He is contractually required to finish any song. All right, we got Will the Thrizzle, Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic with the number 7 Ohio State Buckeyes and said Ryan Day taking on kind of loudmouth Drinkowitz at number 9 Missouri Tigers 10-2.
And I think we've picked only Ohio teams thus far, so just saying.
Well, Cal McCord is done at Ohio State. So, and the real question is does Marvin Harrison Jr. play? Because if he doesn't play, they have 0 offense. But some people are saying the other day that he's getting an NIL deal worth $20 million to come back to Ohio State, and they will match a potential first-round contract.
Wow.
So,
goodness.
With all of that, give me Drinkowitz and the Missouri Tigers because they've got the JUCO running back of the year, walk-on Schaefer, who has been dominating. And
who is a hero to me because I don't watch Tennessee play anything unless I have to. And I saw that kid's stats against Tennessee, and I was like, I could watch the last few minutes of this one. And, man.
Well, and the fact that during Drinkowitz's bowl interview, he said to Reese Davis, sorry, I got to go. Connor Stallions is calling in. I'll get back with y'all later.
I know. I'm like, dude.
And anyone who says that, like, he's cocky, but he's hilarious.
What we really need to ask is if Jeff is still watching, his thoughts on Ohio State and how he feels about the Buckeyes. I'm sure he will. He wears us out pretty good in that between that Michigan and Ohio State game, Ben.
And it's a poisonous nut. Like,
and I'm right there with him. Right there with him. All right, Blake. This is probably one of my most exciting games. I want to watch this game. You've got the Lane Train, of course, and then, of course, you've got Penn State, which is almost an opposite approach to everything. It's almost like you said, a Michigan-Alabama kind of early preview to some degree. And you get the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl with number 10 Penn State at 10-2, the Nittany Lions, of course, versus the Ole Miss Rebel Black Bears, Star Wars General Land Sharks Rebels at 10-2.
Yeah, so this one's interesting because Penn State has a great defense, and Ole Miss, the teams that they lose to, usually have great defenses, and Ole Miss has a great offense, and the teams that beat Penn State usually have great offenses. So it's a clash of styles here. But I'm going to go with Penn State because I think Lane Train is doing too much in the portal right now, and I think his mind may be elsewhere. So I'm going to go with the defense in Penn State.
This would be huge for the SEC to win. That's only going to help the whole overall. And then Penn State in the Big Ten, it's going to help the Big Ten too. So I think this is probably one of the most important bowl games for which conference or what people are going to assume to be the better conference too.
Yeah, Jeff, they play Ohio State plays Missouri, and Will went with the Missouri Tigers, and Blake just took Penn State over Ole Miss. That on ESPN, it's 51% have picked Ole Miss and 49% have picked Penn State. So
what's the spread on that one? Do you see it?
It's not on there, I don't think. I don't see it. It's not on there.
Okay.
And then Josh Thorne gets the Music City Bowl featuring the Maryland Terrapins and Tua Jr. taking on Auburn Tigers and Hugh Freeze trying to get that 7th win. And Josh just can't bring himself to do it. He's going Maryland by 50. Maryland by 50.
Penn State's favored by 3.5 over Ole Miss. Just throwing that out there.
Tagovailoa just became the all-time leading passer in the Big Ten as well this year.
That's crazy. Of course, he throws it every down. So that helped. All right, Ben.
What's in your
Everyone's favorite bowl or least favorite bowl? I have no idea what anybody's thinking. If Jeff Tabner says he's going with Missouri as well and Ole Miss in those matchups. Jeff really has a lot of love for the Big Ten, if you haven't gathered. So, Ben, you got the Capital One Orange Bowl with the number 5, 13-0 Jordan Travisless Florida State Seminoles and the number 6 Georgia Bulldogs at 12-1.
I bet this is going to be real politically correct as well.
Capital One, what's in your wallet? Well, Florida State's got less in their wallet after they played UNA and less of a quarterback after UNA. And the Georgia, Georgia's in the SEC.
He didn't lose a limb. He just broke it.
I don't know.
Georgia.
You see the replay?
They only showed it.
I didn't have to see the replay. I was there.
You were there in the stadium.
They only showed it 17 times.
Yeah.
In slow mo.
Let's
Shout
see
out
it
to
from
the
a
CW.
different angle.
That's what you give the CW. Let's show this guy's broken leg in HD for 47 angles.
And to hear a lot of people talk, Georgia has a lot in their wallet because they're with the SEC. So, there's that argument. All Florida State's got is a petition. So I'm going to go with Georgia Bulldogs in this one by a milli. I mean, I think Georgia's going to beat them pretty bad. That's just
Ben got zero respect for that defense.
But Florida State does have the Florida graduate attorney general of Florida pushing a lawsuit.
I did see that, yeah.
Pushing a lawsuit to the committee and has already subpoenaed all of their voting records and their dialogues.
Good for them.
Wow.
Nice.
Well, I will say, Florida State's defense is good, and I really did you hate to see a guy go out like that.
I don't even know that their defense is that good.
But
Florida State's defense.
Who was it we just said a few minutes ago that had a
played
tight game early on in the season? But
they've had a lot of tight games.
Yeah. So it's questionable. I really am looking forward to seeing kind of what they do look like and what Georgia looks like against them. And
no one needs to make any excuses. Alabama did not gyp Florida State of a spot. It was called the Michigan Wolverines. They got 6 wins this year, cheating like they stole some. Oh, wait, they did steal something. And so if anybody should be sitting at home, if anybody should be in the Orange Bowl and not in the playoffs, it's called the Michigan Wolverines.
And there's the hot take.
There you go.
I think Georgia wins by 3 touchdowns.
What do you think? You think Florida State's going to win?
I think Florida State won all their games.
No, I said Georgia. Do you think they're going to beat Georgia? We don't care what you think about the other.
Oh, okay. I was just sitting over here taking it. Yeah, I don't know who's going to win. I hope Florida State beats them, but do I think it's going to happen? Probably not.
But any word on McConkey and Bowers, because that would weigh in on my decision.
If Florida State beats Georgia, y'all are going to hear it from me. That's all I'm going to say.
I just love that I'm going to hear it about 2 teams that I don't care about.
Well, yeah, fair enough.
We beat one. Anyways, they're not in, and DeSantis can spend his time on that and dodge Donald Trump all he wants. Okay, Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl. How did I get this one? Wyoming Cowboys at 8-4 and the 11-2 Toledo Rockets. Give me the Rockets. All right. The Rockets. All right, Will, you got the ReliaQuest Bowl. You got the number 13 LSU Bayou Bengals at 9-3. And I haven't heard if Jaden's playing in this bad boy or not.
Yeah.
Versus the 7-5 Wisconsin Badgers, who the Tide plays at Camp Randall next year.
Who is the backup quarterback for LSU? Is it
Nutzmeyer?
Yeah. He's decent. So I think even if Jaden Daniels doesn't play, they've still got Neighbors, who may be the best wide receiver in the country other than Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, better stats than Marvin Harrison Jr.
So, as long as LSU doesn't just everybody opt out, I just think they've got better athletes. So I'm going to roll with LSU. And I think Brian Kelly's he's a good coach.
All right, Blake, let's try to keep your emotions out of this one. We know you got a soft spot for Bo Nix. But on January the 1st, 2024, we kick off the new year with the Verbo Fiesta Bowl featuring the number 8 Oregon Ducks at 11-2, who could not get it done against Washington. Hosts are playing the number 23 Liberty Flames at 13-0. I haven't heard if Bo's playing or not.
He said he is playing.
Nice.
I've got a lot of respect for him playing at Auburn behind a paper mache offensive line. And so, yeah, I know he's going to go out there and give it his all. And Dan Lanning he's a good coach. So I'm going with the Ducks. That's probably the easiest pick that I'll have all night long.
Yeah, that should be the case. Mr. Thorne draws the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, and everybody knows you can't spell citrus without UT. Thank you, Steve Spurrier. That was a great legendary quote. Between the number 21 Tennessee Volunteers, 8-4, who are legitimately back. I mean, they're gonna in the 8-4 spot versus number 17 Iowa Hawkeyes at 10-3. We know this game is not about Alabama, but the next one is. And so Josh Thorne is rolling with Iowa by 51, is what he said.
Iowa and Tennessee.
If Iowa scores 51 points, I will go on the record and say, and I will do something crazy on camera.
There it is. We've got it, folks. We need Iowa to score 51 points.
Wear an Alabama jersey on camera.
I don't think Iowa scored 51 all year.
No. I don't know that they'll combine to score 51 points.
The over-under's probably like 19.
Was it y'all that sent the stat that they had more punt yards than offensive yards in the season?
Yes.
Their punter's going to set the record.
It's crazy.
That's insane.
All right, so we are down to the semifinals. We will have on Monday, January 1st at 4 p.m., the first of the 2 semifinal games. We've got the college football playoff semifinal at the Rose Bowl, presented by Prudential, who's not a sponsor, but hey, hit us up. You've got the number 1 Michigan Wolverines at 13-0. They've got 49% of the pick on ESPN. They are a 1-point favorite, I believe, right now. It was high as 2, and it's went down to 1, maybe back up to 1.5. And then number 4, your favorite other than one of us on the panel, the 12-1 Alabama Crimson Tide with 51% of the pick to win the Rose Bowl. We'll go ahead and let Josh make his pick. And that is going to be the Crimson Tide of Alabama. He's going with them. So that's 1 vote in the Alabama column. Blake, would you like to go last, or would you like to make your argument right now as to why Michigan is going to beat the Tide?
I'll go last.
Okay, awesome. Ben, who you rolling with? Jeff Tabner says he's rolling with Bama.
I mean, I'm always afraid to pick Bama just because of the picks, but I feel like that I don't know. I'm going to go with Bama. I'm not going to say all the reasons why, but it's going to be a tight game. I think Michigan's impressive in some different areas than Alabama. I think I'll just be honest. It's going to kind of depend on how well we come out and play. And that's been the only thing that's concerned me every now and then about Alabama is how they start, and so we'll see how they start. I think if they start strong and with, a month to plan, I feel like we can beat Michigan. So I'm going to go Bama.
All right. Will?
Yeah, I'm a homer, man. I'm rolling with Bama all the way. I think we win by 18 points.
Oh.
But I think it comes –
Blake disagrees.
This is my thing is I don't think – like their quarterback, McCarthy, the last 5 games has not done well. I mean, he's not had – great stats, and I think if we get up, then he's got to start making plays. The way the defense has played here lately, the offensive line was clicking against Georgia. But I hang my hat on you give Saban 3 weeks to face anybody. I think it's just tough. I think he knows what he's doing. He's proven that, and I think it's crazy to bet against him when he's got that much time.
So that's 3 of 5. So that's going to be the official Ben and Travis pick, is that the Tide beats Michigan. And so we jump in. I'll give Blake the last word on the Rose Bowl. Let me just say, this is a college football fever dream for me. Like the Rose Bowl, my favorite bowl, bucket list item. Let's go to Pasadena sometime, boys. You got Michigan, who I love their helmets, their uniforms, their history. They're probably my favorite Big Ten team. I'm just going to be honest with you. And, of course, you got Alabama. Like, to me, this is like college football, what it's really about before we destroy it next year. So I'm thankful this is happening. Coaching, like I look at these two teams and I go, where's the talent? The Jimmies and Joes. Who's got the X, and then you go, who's got the X's and O's? And to me, that's like 2 in the Bama corner. And everything in my gut wants to say Michigan wins this football game because I am the pessimist. But I'm also like, if you look at it from a football standpoint, those are 2 huge things I think that you got to give the Tide the check mark on. I go with Ben. Like, are we going to get the South Florida Iron Bowl versions of the Crimson Tide? Obviously, South Florida, Jalen didn't play, period. So there's a little bit of an excuse there. But, like, I've just seen this Tide team play Michigan how many times since Saban's been there? And both times, even Michigan at one point had a 7-point lead against the Mac Jones-led team in the 2019, and Alabama ended up winning by 3 scores. So I'm going to go Alabama against my better judgment. My gut and my head are on the same page here, which immediately makes me question why I'm picking them. But I'm going Tide.
I think we send Harbaugh to the NFL. Lose this one, and there he goes.
Yeah. What you got, Blake?
So in the Iron Bowl, do you think Alabama played bad, Auburn played good, or a mixture of the two? Because and I know it was at Jordan-Hare, which is a tough place for anybody to come in and play. But if Bama can find a way, and albeit I think we can all agree that defending and getting anything on 4th and 31 is kind of fluky.
Oh yeah,
so
ridiculous.
But like
I have a skill.
I have a hard time. Yeah, our corner totally vacated the side of the field. Yeah, take that guy's scholarship away right now. But what are your thoughts on, like, did you think Bama played bad or Auburn played good?
Well, I would say, and I won't get into officiating because I think we all agree it's terrible. If they don't call that holding call and Alabama goes up 14-0,
oh yeah,
Jordan-Hare empties out. It's at that point, a lot of people go, oh, it's done. We're going home. And I think Alabama plays differently. But from that point on, I think Alabama played poorly. But I think Auburn revealed and had been revealing. Like, to me, the X factor to me is, can J.J. McCarthy run on Alabama like Peyton Thorne did? Because if you can get him going and even pick up just a few first downs, right? Alabama's shown that if the quarterback doesn't have to run all the time, but if he can get a couple of big ones or pick up a couple of first downs, then you can keep it moving. But I think at some point you're going to have to throw on Bama.
Yeah.
And do they have the guys on the outside to make the play? But to answer your question about the Iron Bowl, I think you're right. I think it's a mixture of a lot of those things.
Well, I just think that Auburn was in a position to win solely based on, first off, our defense played their tails off, but Hugh Freeze, he's a master at scheming offense, and he's been doing it for a long time. He's beaten Nick Saban before, and I don't think Michigan has that on offense. And I think Milroe is going to be he's going to have to run the ball a lot. So but that guy's a load. So I'm going to take Alabama.
The other thing we saw in the SEC championship was a new wrinkle of the offense again that we haven't even seen all year. Like, Tommy Rees was still putting in new things. So I'm wondering if there's –
how many more new things has he got?
Yeah, like I wonder if Milroe still got some things there in the bag that we still haven't even shown yet.
Well, I think Michigan will try to bully ball, and that's like right up Alabama's alley. Like, please run it at us between the tackles. We would love for you to line up in the eye.
He wants so bad to stay in the pocket, and there's so many times that if he would have run, he could have done even more damage than he did. He just so bad wants to be a pocket.
He's going to be on less of a leash going forward. Yeah. Luke Stevenson says that Tennessee beats Iowa 18-15. I'm here for it, Luke. I'm here for it.
Well, that's what Blake was saying. I think Harbaugh wants to run a pro-style offense, and Saban would love nothing more than for them to come in and run a pro-style offense. That just sets up perfect.
I think it'll be similar to the Georgia game. Yeah. I don't know that Alabama's played their best game yet. I don't know that we'll see it all season. The Georgia game was close, but, I mean, Georgia threw it at 2 of our DBs twice, and we just dropped it. It's like, it's a pick 6 if we take care of business. So there's still that numbing things where we're like, what are we even doing? And so
you also don't punch in the fumble there either, you know, on the 15. So points are on the table.
All right. So we're on to the All-State Sugar Bowl, and we have the new number 2 Washington Huskies at 13-0 with Michael Penix Jr. taking on the number 3 Texas Longhorns at 12-1. ESPN, 55% of the picks are rolling with the Longhorns on this one, and we will go with Mr. Thorne's pick. He's going to roll with the Texas Longhorns, but he does say give the horns down. He's not happy about it. So that's his pick. So that's 1. And the Texas column, we were consensus all with the Tide in the Rose Bowl. Blake, you want to go first, go last?
Sure. I'll go first on this one.
All right.
I think these teams are a spitting image of each other. They both can score and score a lot and score fast. And we've seen it with Michael Penix all year long. He's faced Oregon. He's faced Oregon's, tough defenses for what we think are tough defenses for the Pac-12, and he just outscores them. But I think Sarkisian is just a better coach, and I think that Texas has a better offense overall. So I think they're going to outlast Washington and make a stop late.
All right, so that's 2 votes for Texas. Ben, you going to make it 3? Make that the official pick? Who you rolling with?
Well, I don't want to be the guy who makes the official pick, but
he will.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, I've been saying all along I think Texas will end up winning this game, and I may be wrong because, I mean, Washington's got a good team too. And I hope it's a good game. I've just kind of Texas is good. They've played well.
40-40.
And so it may be a shootout, but like I said, I'm not sure that either one of them's got a huge defense. But I'm just going to go with Texas on it. So
all right,
original pick.
Will,
I'm going with the Tide by 40. No, I'm going to go. I told Blake a second ago, I'm going to go Washington. I've stayed and watched a lot of their games, with the old Pac-12 After Dark over there. And I think they end up winning on just some bogus trick play. Like, I think there were several games I watched. It would be like 4th and 3, and they're throwing back shoulder fades. Like, I think they've just got all the trust in the world in Penix Jr. He's got a good older receiving core. He's got the one guy who is
Odunze.
Yeah, Odunze. That guy is a freak.
Yeah, he's good.
So, I think it's hard to go against Sark because, I mean, we saw what he did at Alabama. I don't know that he has the athletes that he had with that group at Bama. But I think Washington, it's just kind of things are trending their way. They've won some close ones, gotten lucky on a few ones with last-second field goals, but I think they pull it out with just some Lane Kiffin crazy, whatever, and win the game.
So we got 1 vote for Washington out of the group. I think Texas has done a good job of accruing SEC talent. I think Sark is probably one of, if not the best offensive mind. I would love for him to quit Texas tomorrow and could be our offensive coordinator again. Like those were the good old days. But yeah, I don't know that Washington's really played a team that not only can shoot it out with them, but can also stop them on offense. But I have questions about Ewers. Ewers was the difference in Tuscaloosa. The whole thing was he hadn't completed a pass of over 20 yards. And he's dropping dimes out there like he's Johnny Manziel or Steven Garcia or blah, 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 blah.
Garcia.
And more power to him. But I hadn't seen that the rest of the year. Now, I don't count Oklahoma State, right? Whatever. But they got to get that out of Ewers this time. And they're going to need 2 more performances out of him. I think he's going to have to hit those moments. I think Texas is too good. I think I'm going with Texas as much as I would love to see Washington win this thing because Texas will basically get a home game in the national championship. It's in Houston if they win. So I think you'll see all the cards on the table for all 4 of these teams, but especially Texas because they know if we can get it to Houston, that's going to be a big plus for them. So
that'll be interesting.
So the official pick is that it will be the Texas Longhorns and the Alabama Crimson Tide in a matchup this time in Texas backyard. And so we'll go ahead and get your thoughts. We'll have another show to talk about the national championship. I don't know if it'll be like this or a shorter where I just talk about what you guys' picks are. But let's see. It's Texas, Alabama. That's our pick. What do you think? We've got to pick it anyways at the bottom of this thing to complete them. And we'll go in the order we went initially. I'm assuming that Josh is going to say the Tide just because it seems like who he is. But I'll talk to him and see what he says. So we'll go ahead and put 1 vote for the Tide, I think, unofficially right now. So, Ben, you got a Crimson Tide Texas matchup in the Natty. Who you rolling with?
Oh, why you put that on me? Don't put that on me, Ricky Bobby. I mean, we saw what happened in Tuscaloosa. All of us, we're aware. But I think it's 2 different teams than it was then. So right now, having not seen the 2 games, what's going to happen? I think you get Saban in a rematch. I like the odds, so I'm going to go Bama right now until I watch the other ones.
Yeah.
What you think?
This is not our official pick, so we'll have that show later. The teams are determined. Jeff Tabner says the Huskies will beat the Longhorns because Texas struggled with the Houston Cougars, and he's picking Bama to win. I think he's picking them to win the whole thing. So, Will, what you got? Where do you want me to go?
It don't matter.
Go ahead, Will.
Okay. I almost get a little more scared of playing Washington in the national championship because I think that Penix Jr. is a better quarterback than yours, and he is a more mobile quarterback. And Alabama doesn't do well against mobile, running quarterbacks. But I think it completes the revenge tour. That's been the whole thing this season. We took out Tennessee. We took out LSU. We're going to right the ship, right the wrongs, and I've taken Bama, I think, the last 4 or 5 years to go undefeated and win the Natty. Why stop now? So give me Bama.
All right. I've got I went Texas, Alabama. I believe, I know this is a coaching cliche, and once again, it kills my soul, which basically means I'm not 100% sure on this. I'm not very confident in this pick. I feel like if Alabama gets to that rematch game that they've been thinking about since September, I like Alabama's chances. Sark still puts the fear in me. But you usually get your best from Alabama. And once again, I think if it's Texas, I don't know that Ewers can do it 3 times in a row. I mean, he played really well till he got hurt by Dallas Turner in Austin.
If Bryce Young doesn't duck that sack at the end,
they win. Honestly, seriously. And we're not dropping Dallas Turner into coverage like we did with Will Anderson Jr., which is a war crime. Anyways, I'll stay on it. Blake, what you think? Alabama and Texas.
God bless Pete Golding.
It is really hard to beat the same team twice in the same season. We've seen it time and time again when a team beats a team in the regular season, and then they get to the championship game, and the other team comes back and beats them. With that being said, give me Texas. Pull a little Pat McAfee on there for you. So, yeah, I'll go with Texas. Sark is going to be scheming something up, and I think he's one of the top 5 offensive minds in the game for sure. And we saw what Hugh Freeze did, and he had a great scheme against Alabama, and so leads me, to think that Sark is going to do the same thing. So give me the horns for now.
Gotcha. Not official picks. We'll come back, like I said. Before I let you guys go, I know it's getting late. If you can think of one, and I will go first, what is your golden dislike of the college football regular season as it comes to a wrap? It doesn't have to be college football. It could be football, anything, but anything that's happened since the beginning of the season. It can be the NFL as well. And right now, I think my golden dislike is the, once again, Michigan cheating, getting in, and Alabama getting the brunt. Like, we get it, Bama fatigue. I hope it lasts forever. It never ends. Bring me all the Bama fatigue. But Michigan's in. They're cheaters. We know they're cheaters. They've admitted to cheating. They shouldn't be in. But right now, my golden dislike is Patrick Mahomes. The dude's offsides. That's a penalty. Like,
yeah, like what? Why is he all worked up about that?
Like, you can't line up offside. Anyways, whoever's next can jump in. Whatever you think.
Oh,
golden dislike. But yeah, mine's with Patrick Mahomes this week. Blake, don't spare our feelings, brother. I mean, this is your chance to let it out. It's a safe.
I got a few.
You can have one.
What the receiver in the corner of the end zone? He did push off, whether you liked it or not. He did.
After he was held.
That doesn't matter. Offsetting penalties. We'll play it again. Probably the golden dislike for me came this past week. Like, what is Sean McDermott thinking? Like, that guy
he's not.
He needs to disappear. Like, you can't. And it's my understanding that he doubled down on his comments, as the team meeting was going on. Like, you can't take any positives away from that situation at all. So try again, buddy. That's a golden dislike for me.
Reset.
Yes.
I could talk about a lot too, but I'll keep on track with Travis in that everybody giving all this attention to Taylor Swift during all the Kansas City stuff. Because
wow.
I mean, like, my kids are all like, oh, look, she's made this guy famous named Travis Kelce. And I'm like, shut up. No, that's not true. So just having to show her every 5 seconds and I don't even watch those games very often, but it's like every time, he catches a ball or misses one, they have to show her in the stands. It's like, okay, let's move on. So that's my golden dislike.
All right, Will, wrap us up. What's your golden dislike for football season?
My golden dislike is we're going to punch it in, and the Auburn safety comes down clapping his hands, and we snap the ball off of his clap.
I could hear when he snapped it.
No, here's my real golden dislike. This is the first year I've taken fantasy football serious, and the stinking frustration. These guys score 30 points one week, and they scored 2 the next.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Like, good gracious.
It's painful.
Our Echoes team lost by 3 points, and this is the first week in about 6 that I've put DeAndre Hopkins on the bench because he hasn't put up any points, and he scored 25. So we got a bye. We're the first team in the league, so we'll get after it. Guys, I appreciate your time. College football has been great. Blake, we appreciate you putting up with us. We appreciate you, most importantly, your team only rushing 2 people. And, so big time. Appreciate that. Now, we love you, appreciate you, and voicing the BAT. What would any podcast be like? And Jeff Taberner's golden dislike is NIL and the portal. Man, can we not open this window up a little later? Like, just I know they got to go to school, but do they really go to school in the spring? No.
Right now, yeah.
Yeah. So appreciate it, guys. Y'all have a great night. We'll talk at you soon. Thank you.
See ya.